What's up, it's Gabe Sipes from Custom Audio Reimagine, and today we have a 2012 Lexus ES350 in the bay. Gonna get a new radio, a backup camera. We're gonna change out the leather on both front seats on the butt cushions, and the customer wants me to look into new headlights while it's here because she said she can't see anything with these. So let's go ahead and get into it. So like most Lexuses, they just kind of suck. Lexus they're nice cars. I mean, they're cool. I had a Lexus, but they never really got the aftermarket support. They're just crazy. The radios and everything are just stacked, and they're very hard to work on. This one's gonna get a new radio, which I don't think this one's gonna be too bad as long as no one's been in here before and the clips aren't all messed up. But the process to remove this radio, basically you unsnap this little trim around the shifter, you unsnap this vent piece, there's two screws behind there, you unsnap the vent or the piece on the side here, the piece on the side here, there's 10 millimeter, there's a 10 millimeter, then this whole housing will come out, and then you got to transfer the heating controls and everything over to the kit, which I'll go show you now. And the kit we're going to be using is the Metra 998162G. I believe the G stands for gray because this trim is gray. So here is the new trim piece. The radio goes down at the bottom. These are the gigantic brackets that you have to use as well. And we're also going to be using the interface from Axis. So it's right here. It is the AXDIS-TY1. So this should handle the steering wheel controls and integrate everything. This works with or without premium sound. We also have a Crux backup camera that's gonna be going on here. And then we're gonna do the Sony XAV AX3700. And that is because this is the Apple CarPlay only unit. These customers said they only have Apple. That saves you a little bit of money if you go with this unit because it doesn't have Android Auto. And Sony's are just the easiest I find for customers to use. Now, I do want to address that I was in Vegas. I posted the last video, was in Vegas for Installer of the Year. I did not win, but thank you to everybody that, told me good luck and everybody that, wished me, that I'd win. From what I was told, I came in second. That's fine. I'm never going to run again. I said that was a one-time deal. I'm not the kind of person that likes to chase things. So gave it a shot, didn't get it, but that's also why I have this beard and this crazy PE teacher hair, because I feel like garbage. So I think I got sick. I'm not really sure, but I feel horrible. I've got like 2 hours of sleep. I just don't feel well. So if I feel low energy in this video, that's why, and I'm sorry. But I will be heading back to Vegas in, I think 2 or 3 weeks. Because I did get inducted into the Diecast Hall of Fame. So Hot Wheels, Diecast, Jada, those crazy cool little cars. So I get to go out to Vegas, do the whole ceremony, and I get my Hall of Honors, my little Hall of Fame ring, so I can make everybody kiss my ring. So it's like a Super Bowl ring. It's kind of dope. So I'm actually pretty proud of that. That's pretty awesome. But that means I got to turn right around and go right back to Vegas here again. So let's get this car done, and then I need to book up myself for the rest of the month because I need to make some money to pay for these Vegas trips. All right, so we've got the radio out, got the instructions here telling us what we need to do. We need to take the brackets off. We got to take the heating controls out. It actually says we have to trim the heating controls somewhere on here. I saw there's some kind of a shaded area. Yeah, right there. So we're going to have to get in there. We got to remove those little tabs there. All right, so this is an interesting setup you have to do. So there are the factory side pieces, and you have to remove the buttons and everything. But the heating controls, you take the cover off, exposing the circuit board. Then you have to remove 4 screws there to remove it from the side pieces, but you also have to remove 2 screws down here. Then once you remove side pieces, you can pop these little buttons out. So those little buttons are going to go over here to the new kit, and then I have to mount these heating controls and everything to the new kit, and then put the back on. All right, and we got the legs there cut off. So now we can move on with putting the kit and everything together. Kit's all together, everything looks good, everything fits good. These buttons, in case you ever do one of these, see they're supposed to be pressed. On the back, I noticed the screws, when you put the circuit board back in, if you over tighten the screws, these will not press. They get jammed up. So I had to back them off a couple turns so that those would free up. And then from behind, there's what you got. Oh, I just noticed, look, the radio's crooked. So that means I need to loosen the screws on this side and bring it back out. So glad I looked at that. But yeah, you can see that side's out a little bit further. We go ahead and loosen that up, push the radio out, tighten it up, and then I'll work on the harness. Now that we have the kit ready, let's go ahead and go to our Axis updater. First thing you want to do is you want to go to update firmware. So you can see right there, you have to wait. It's downloading the firmware updates that are available. So we're going to go ahead and hit update firmware, searching for interface. Interface not updated because it's already at the latest version 2.6. So this means that there is no update for this. If you wanted to, you can always hit force update and it will reload 2.6 on there, which is what I do because I just want to make sure I don't have any kind of corrupted firmware, anything. This just kind of gives me a little feeling warm and fuzzy inside. So we're going from 2.6 to 2.6. So we hit OK. Want to go back to main menu now. Steering wheel control configuration. Radio type, we are going to be using a Sony. So we have the Sony Dual. Sometimes they have 2 listings for the same radio. Looks like there's only one Sony. We'll hit that. Go ahead and write to it. There we go. We just wrote to it that it's Sony. If you want to know if it wrote it, you can hit read from. So it says Sony and Dual. So when you read from here, it's showing exactly what you'd put in. So that is all we needed to do on the interface. Now we can unplug it and wire it up to the new radio's harness. Okay, so in the car, I've got the Bluetooth mic mounted. It's ran up here. We've got the backup camera cable ran up here. So they're ready to go to the radio. We've pulled out the heated seats so we could get to the factory USB port. You cannot retain the factory USB in the center console. It will not carry data. That's the problem with these older cars, is the USB is, 2.0, 1.5. So the USB can't carry all the data for Apple CarPlay. So you have to replace it, and I can't use the lines. So I'm gonna be running the Type-C that comes from the Sony radio back. It'll run down and through, and then I took apart the console and I will show you the USB port now. And then here is the USB port. So there's a whole body that goes here and the plug that plugs into the back, because it also has the aux, and there's no way for me to retain the aux because the aux and the USB are on the same circuit board. So what I do is I put a Type A in there to Type C adapter, and I have it molded into it. So now I can mount this back down in the center console. That gives her Type A for her Apple CarPlay. And then this will run up and through and plug into the back of the radio. The Sony does not have an aux input. so the aux can't be used regardless. So since we couldn't retain aux anyway, let's go ahead and put it there in the center console. It'll all be good. Here's the nice thing about having these L-shaped bodies. So you see it's just a DIN chassis, so it's an L. So what you do is mount the brain right here. Then you can route your wiring. So you zip tie it to the factory little zip tie hoop. There's for the steering wheel controls. And then these are what's going to plug into the car. And then this is the backup camera and the power for the backup camera. So you see how nice, gets it all nice and pretty. When you go to put it in the car, you're not going to have to worry about things being in the way. And then right here, the reason it's sideways, that is the pot for the volume. So once it's plugged in, I have to turn the radio up, then turn that pot, and that will basically gain match to the factory amplifier because this does have premium sound. So now the next step is to go ahead, take that unit. You're supposed to start the car first, then plug it in. So I'll set that on the console, plug in the AC controls just so we don't throw a code in case there's a code that can be thrown. We'll plug in anything else that we think is critical. Then we will plug in the radio wires after the car has been started because that's what the programming procedure says for the access piece. Once it basically detects the car, detects the radio, we can test the steering wheel controls, see if they work. If they do, turn the volume up. We'll turn the pot up until the audio starts to clip a little bit, then we'll back it off a little, and there we go. Then we can start putting this back together. Then we have to run the camera wire underneath the trim all the way through to the trunk. We have to go up through the arm, up through here to put the camera on the trunk lid. So as usual, nothing is going the way it should. This car should be done by now, but I have been bit by the Axis interface bug again. I don't like Axis. I think their interfaces are inferior to everybody's. But this vehicle, Axis was the only interface available. I prefer PAC if it's available, or like Maestro's, but Axis interfaces usually work 50% of the time. That's kind of what I run into. So everything on here works. Radio, steering wheel controls, everything's working, but I'll show you what isn't. So you see I have that purple wire hanging out there. I have a purple wire hanging out there. It's because there's a green with purple that's supposed to be the reverse trigger for the backup camera. Now there's a green with purple that's on the multimedia side plug, which it says not to use. And then there's the green with purple that's in the main harness, which it says to use. So this is the green with purple from the main harness, but when I put it in reverse, it wasn't working. So I was like, okay, maybe they have a typo. So I put it on the multimedia side, which is this plug. Well, this is my power probe, and these should show power when it goes in reverse. One of them should. So there we're in reverse, deader than a doornail, and deader than a doornail. Now that means I need to look it up and try to find where the reverse trigger is in this vehicle, and hopefully it's something I can get to relatively easily. This is when installing sucks. It's when parts that you have no control over don't work. That's what's infuriating. Like if I broke something on the install, or if I did a bad job on the install, then you're like, okay, well, you just suck. But when I do everything right, but the manufacturers don't, it's infuriating. So I just called tech support for the giggles. He was actually very nice. Dude was pretty cool about it. They told me where to get the reverse line. It's in the driver's kick panel. So I'm going to have to run a hard line. They don't know why the reverse trigger isn't working off the interface, but I don't stock interfaces here. I order everything per the job. That's why when things don't work, it really screws up my day because I don't have extra ones laying around. And I always get people like, well, you should. Dude, if I had extra ones every time somebody said I should, I might as well just be a Best Buy and stock every interface. It just doesn't make sense financially. And then on top of it, I end up with a bad interface that I'd have to pay to ship back to get a credit for that. Then when I use my credit, I have to pay for shipping for the new item. So you end up losing money shipping there, shipping back. You never get your full credit. So it's my soapbox. It's something I've been bitching about for years. I'm gonna pull the kick panel, so I'm just gonna add another hour to my job. It's cool. 3 hours behind schedule, but we're finally done with the radio and backup camera. So there we have Apple CarPlay working through the USB port that I put in place of the factory one. Put in reverse, backup camera. If anybody ever needs to get the reverse wire, it's in the driver's kick panel. It's a white 17-pin plug. Pin number 8, it's the yellow wire. Had to run that across and up to here, and now that's all taken care of. So now tomorrow I need to pull out both seats and replace that seat cover and that seat cover. That one's got a big rip in it, so I suppose that's why she wants that one done. And that one's got blue ink all over it. I haven't opened the package yet though to verify they got the right seat covers because they brought them. So let's do that now. So I just opened it up and they look like they're correct. I'll actually probably take them home. It'll be cold in here tonight. Open those up, lay them out so they're in the heated house. Try to get the wrinkles and everything out just to relax them so they'll be a little bit easier to deal with. That's it. I'm gonna go ahead and go home. I will be back in the morning to do the seats. Hopefully one of my children is available to help me. I'll see you tomorrow.